I bet I'm live. It doesn't see me every time. It doesn't say I'm live yet, but I know I really am. Hey, there I am. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Hello to everyone in the 7-day miracle challenge with Corinne Garillo and the angels. And I love it. I'm so excited to be here. Pop a hello. Hey, what's up in the comments? If you're joining me live, hi, how are you? Hi, my name is Leah. Oh my God, I'm so excited to be here. Hold on. This is my first love stream in this group. Hello, Chris. Hi, how are you? Hi, Kelly. Woo! And I'm so blessed and grateful. So my name is Leah, and I am a graduate of Corinne's Angel Alchemy Academy. Super blessed and grateful to have been a part of that. Oh my gosh. Hello, hi Cassandra. Thank you guys for saying hi. And it just lets me know too, by the way, that the sounds work and everything's working. And you know, I just want to say that I owe my progress as a human being, my process in my business, everything. Hi Stephanie. I owe to the Academy, to Corinne, and you know, her mentorship, and that 9 months of my life it was not just a turning point, it was like a crack open for me, which I'll get into here in just a second. And so, like I said in the description, I am here to talk a little bit about what shadow work is and what that means to me. I'm not going to do like card pulls and all that kind of stuff, although I do that actually in my group, which I'm going to pop a link here. Boom, in the comments. Anybody wants to, how do I do that? Oh, there it is. There's more. Hi, hello everyone. Thank you so much for saying hi. I have a Facebook group for lightworkers as well, where I do lives a couple times a week. And on Mondays, I call it Magical Mondays. I often do a card pull or go through some kind of magical practice for everyone to do. And then Wednesdays, which is today, I call the nooner, because it's hump day, right? So we do the nooner on hump day. You can tell I'm one of Corinne's students. And we do a meditation practice. So that's, and I'm on Central Standard Time, so that was 2 hours ago. Anyway, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be here. When Corinne asked if I could help out, I was just like, I just feel honored and I just feel blessed. So I just want to take a moment for that. Today I am going to talk about some pretty tough stuff. We're going to talk about imposter syndrome, spiritual bypassing, self-sabotage, and bleh, so yucky. But the truth is that those things are just, you know, they're just a part of our human experience. And when you come at this human experience with this openness and this readiness to embrace everything about it, which comes from doing your shadow work, by the way, it's fun. And it becomes fun, and it can be exciting and like a celebration to be like, oh, I just found another shadow aspect. Hi. I want to start with a little bit of a quote. As this came in my email this morning, and I was like, what? I have to share this. This is from Pema Chodron. Let me know if you know who that is. She's a Buddhist monk, and she's just amazing. And she works in shadow as well, although she doesn't call it that. Learning to leap into open space with our fear, resentment, and doubt is how we become fully human beings. There isn't any separation between samsara and nirvana, between the sadness and the pain of the setting sun and the vision and power of the great eastern sun. As the Shambhala teachings put it, one can hold them both in one's heart, which is actually the purpose of practice. And for me, does that make sense? That's what shadow is about, shadow work for me. Does that make sense? It's like you're learning how to embrace. Hi. That's so great. I'm so excited you guys are here. Learning to kind of embrace these parts of ourselves. So let me just kind of back up a little bit. Okay. So again, spiritual bypassing, imposter syndrome, self-sabotage. If you can relate to that, let me know in the comments. Pop an emoji in there. Let me know that that's something that you have experienced or you can relate to. Even if you feel like, well, no, that's not me, but I can see it in her over there. I can see it in that person over there. And oh my gosh, that person is so stuck in self-sabotage or imposter syndrome all over the place. If you feel like you can identify it and it's very clear in someone else, then yeah, let me know in the comments. All of that stuff, like I said, is just a result of not doing what I call shadow work. Yeah, oh yeah. Okay. It's big, man. I started out personally on this journey with the light stuff, doing yoga and then meditation and certification teacher and doing the academy, becoming an intuitive healer, theta, all these things, and really working in the light. But I know I have been living in shadow for a long time. In fact, yes, lots of thumbs up. I see it. That's so great. I had been living in shadow for a long time. And actually, Spirit, I now understand that Spirit called me and guided me through some really dark times. So you might relate to that too, because that was me building the muscle that I needed so that then I could come out and help others. Anything from early adulthood, sex, drugs, and rock and roll to that emotionally abusive relationship that just left me feeling totally depleted. Yeah, is it Mura? You get it. So yeah, if you can see it, you'll be it. Well, if you can see it, then you resonate with it. So you have it. A lot of times we deny. I mean, that's what shadow is created by, is denial and suppression and repression. And when we deny that in ourselves, you have a tendency to really project it onto other people. And you see it very clearly in other people, but there's that disconnect, kind of a numbing sensation in your own personal body and in, hi, Sonia. So that is exactly my point. So thank you for getting that. This is such a deep subject, and it can feel, it's a lot, and it's pretty vast. And the way that I work with people is it takes a long time because it is so deep and it is so powerful. Oh my gosh, when you start into that realm, it's like amazing. But Dark Night of the Soul, yes, girl. Ooh. Dark Night of the Soul is not only impossible to avoid, it's something to embrace and see as a gift eventually. Other people are bossy. Kind of makes me wonder who's bossy, Sonia. Anyway, it can feel really, it's really hard, this kind of work. What was I going to say? Y'all distracted me. It can feel heavy and it can feel like a lot of intense work. So what we're going to do today is kind of just a skimming the surface, kind of just like skipping a rock across a very deep, vast ocean that is shadow work. Hi, Joanna. Thank you for being here. Okay, so I went through all that crap, and it took me a really long time to figure out what it was that I really needed to do, the process that I've kind of come up with and developed, and how that was all presented to me through Spirit, which, by the way, the Academy was a huge influence on me on getting there. Like, if I hadn't have done that, I wouldn't have been open to receive that information from Spirit, So it was like throwing it up in my face, and then I was like, nope, don't see it. You know how I do, because y'all do it. And then I worked with, Corinne and the amazing people that I went through the Academy with. And by the way, I'm still friends with like almost everybody, because there's such huge connections that are made. And I'm gonna talk about that again in a second. But when I went through all of that, it really forced me into this place of no longer going like that. I had to stop that. I wasn't even going to talk about this, but I quit drinking completely at that time because I could feel, even though I just had like a glass of wine at night, no big deal. I could feel that it was blocking my connection to Spirit and to angels. I could feel that it was becoming a shadow aspect and I needed to take a break from that. And after years and years and years of having a glass of wine every night, like chilling out and relaxing, it was a big deal to just walk away from it. And I had zero resistance because I knew it was what I needed to do. Anyway, that's not even what I was going to talk about today. So now I work with people, light workers, but other people as well, to help them, from all walks of life. They really get to tap into their shadow aspects, and we work together to find those and then how to integrate them. And integrating shadow aspects is just it just becomes a part of your normal self-acceptance and who you are, self-love, self-worthiness, all those things. It's such a huge part of it. So what is shadow? Then? Let's back it up. It literally, shadow is that in relation to this. I don't know how loud this music is. I have music playing. Shadow is just that which we have yet to acknowledge. Does that make sense? You could also say it's one step further would be it's like a part of ourselves that we have yet to love, embrace, and honor, right? Or even more, another phrase that kind of points to the same thing would be, you could call it your wounded ego. And it's a part of ourselves that we know about, and we also kind of don't know about. So we can be like I know I get angry, or I know I get jealous, or I know that, and this is just one aspect of shadow. I work with two, but we're really just going to get into one today. So you can have that knowledge about yourself. You can even kind of admit it to yourself or to other people sometimes. But what really is happening is that what's playing? I don't even know. Thank you, Sonia. You guys can hear it. This is my happy songs playlist. And I highly recommend to all the people that I work with that you either follow mine or create your own and set up a playlist of nothing but songs that are high vibe. And whenever you feel like you just want to feel better, you put on your happy songs. Anyway, so people have a tendency to kind of have this awareness, but when it starts to creep up, you numb down, you turn away from it, you grab your phone and start scrolling on the Facebook, or playing an app game, or swiping if you're single. I'm single, so that's why I said that. Yeah, that's awesome. Epiphanies and changing together, fused friendships. I love it. Being pregnant. Yes, like right now, as a collective, as we give birth to this new sense of being, women are really in tune with that right now. When we deny those parts of ourselves, even when we kind of acknowledge, but we kind of deny, there's some that are way deeper than that are really easy to deny. That's when the projection happens and you see it in other people, and it becomes something that really bothers you in other people. Your triggers, right? Who doesn't love that word? Oh, I do love that word, by the way. I hate it and I love it, because I know it's freaking good for me when I get triggered, and I feel that. And so shadow work, like I was saying, is deep, it's complex. We're just going to kind of skim the surface today. And the reason I wanted to talk about this, besides the fact that this is what I have really chosen to dive into in my personal practice and in what I teach about, is because I feel like it's really missing from a lot of light work. I know Corinne talks about it, but what happens a lot of time with light workers, and most of us, it doesn't matter what your job is, it doesn't matter what you do. Everybody has the potential to be a light worker, a light warrior, a bodhisattva. And when we aren't in tune with those shadow sides, or when we deny them and repress them and push them away, that's when that imposter syndrome comes up. That's when that self-sabotaging behavior, like procrastination or, anger, lashing out and projecting and things like that will come up because you're in imposter syndrome. And in that spiritual bypassing, that denial of the actual feeling and trading it in for that faked forced positivity that we think we're supposed to have if we want to manifest. Where what we really are meant to do and to have is an entire whole human experience, which incorporates both, and you picture that yin yang symbol. Like, what? That shit is perfect. That's right on target. Both sides are different colors, and then there's a little bit of each side in the other side, because it is all one thing. Gosh, with this phone number, something got a hold of my phone number, and I get spam calls all day long. I shouldn't have signed up for that free tarot reading online. I'm only kind of kidding. Okay, so trust me, my friends from the Academy can tell you how much I know about this self-sabotage and the spiritual bypassing and the imposter syndrome, because I was living it, y'all. Those, especially the ones that went through the business training with me, they are all like, Really, Leah? Really? Yeah, really. I know now. Okay. It took me a couple years, but I get it now. And I was really deep into my imposter syndrome, and it was demonstrating itself in some very blatantly obvious ways that now I work with people about. Um, and Spirit had been trying to send me all these messages, and it took a while. Now I've learned how to work through that, how to heal those wounds, that wounded ego, that shadow side, and when we embrace that shadow, we become these miracle, magical, manifesting machines. How's that for some alliteration? That came out of nowhere. Does that make sense? You get to that point where you can really, yeah, if you change your vibe, toxic people will fall away. It's so true. Are you replying to somebody? Yeah, but yeah, okay, so you get rid of toxic people in life. Those are people you mirrored. Sure, those are people who have a lesson for you, but when it's really a toxic, like dark relationship, it's definitely not something that's going to be serving you. But that doesn't mean you can't take the lesson away from it as you choose to no longer allow that in your life, for sure. I've watched myself in observer mode. I have watched myself change over the last couple of years since this was brought to me, and the way that it was brought to me. And I have seen, when I look back, things that have been given to me in my life that have just been brought forward, just manifested, really, just manifested, because I have been able to work with shadow, to embrace shadow, to face it, and then to also understand that I'm not done yet. Not even close to done yet. Every freaking day, I'm telling you. Okay, so I want to start with a simple story. Everybody knows this story. Hold on, I'm gonna drink some tea. Get your tea. Everybody knows this story, but I tell it a little bit differently. And it's that story about the two wolves. And so the way that I've heard it, it's like the grandpa and his grandson sitting by the fire, and the grandson is feeling distressed. Grandpa says what's wrong. And the grandson says, he's feeling like something's wrong with him, and I don't really know. The point is, Grandpa says, I don't know all the fun parts. Grandpa says, grandson, we always have two wolves within us that are fighting, and there's the dark side and the light side, and they're always in a constant battle within us. And what does the grandson say? Grandpa, which one wins? And the way the story is usually told, if you know it, pop it in the comments. It's the one you feed. Okay, but that's only the beginning of the story. The story really goes the one you feed the most, because you have to feed them both. You cannot starve one wolf and just feed one and expect that starving wolf to not lash out and create some kind of insanity in your life at some point. So if you're doing that forced fake positive, if you're constantly feeding the light wolf and you never give the attention and the honoring to that darker side of yourself, that's how people who are like amazing people, you hear about them doing like really weird shit, like in the news or whatever. I don't watch the news, but you know what I mean. Like, people do crazy stuff. Like, you think this is an amazing person, and you find out they cheated on their spouse, or and you're like, what? I had no idea that was going on. Well, yeah, because they were repressing and suppressing their truth and who they really are, and they were creating shadow and not honoring it. When you honor it and you embrace it. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Sonia. Yes, those are my girls. Those are my girls. So the point is, you can't neglect a freaking wolf, you guys. Have you ever starved a wolf? Don't do that. It's ugly. So you can nurture them both. You have to nurture them both. You can't not nurture them both. Is that too much double negative? Anyway, yes. Oh my God. Yes. The religious leaders. Thank you, Sonia. The religious leaders who have done horrible things throughout almost every religion, where there's some kind of stigma around being a freaking human being and having human urges. then suddenly you find out that they're actually, they did have those. They were doing it anyway and denying it. Even if you don't nurture, what happens is you deny, you suppress, repress, and you create shadow. Does that make sense? Acknowledge and heal. Yes, Cindy, that's really as easy as it is. It's so funny. So when it lashes out in other ways, maybe something smaller, could be like an addictive behavior. I am still shocked to hear how many clients come to me that are bulimic and hide it. So eating disorders of all kinds are that shadow wolf that hasn't been nurtured. Addicted to freaking social media, it's a numbing out. Even just that one glass of wine every night was an addictive behavior that was used to numb out and to not deal. Oh my gosh, that is the third freaking spam phone call. What have I done? Oh my God, y'all help me with that. If anybody knows how to get rid of that, please send me a message. So just your phone in general can be a really big addictive behavior. I love how an iPhone will tell you how many times you've picked it up. Okay, that's some real self-awareness. Ouch. So it's just another way to avoid dealing with yourself, right? Does that make sense? And it's important when you work with discovering shadow aspects. Oh, to learn to be so super kind to yourself. Like, it's not always pretty. In fact, it's kind of ugly. And that's why we don't look at it. That's why we pick up our phones. That's why we reach for a beer. That's why we don't want to face this shit. It's ugly and it's hard. And it's like our culture perpetuates some kind of perfection. And when you want to, how do you admit to yourself that you don't have that? And not only do you not have that, but you got some really dark stuff going on in here. You don't want to talk about that. Don't want to admit that. So when you do start to allow that some space and allow that just a little bit of acknowledgement and then you can begin to honor it, and then you can begin to embrace it, and then you can begin to love it, and only then can you truly learn to love yourself. No amount of affirmations, no amount of talking to yourself in a mirror, no amount of prayer is going to get you to self-love if you continue to deny and repress and suppress the dark side, that wolf that needs to be nurtured as well. But we have to be kind to ourselves on this process. There's a bird just landed outside my window. Oh. Unkindness created the shadow, and only kindness can help to dispel it, to integrate it, to become one with it. Does that make sense? So yeah. Oh my gosh, and find your power. Yes, Cindy, this is something that has, it's opened up my gifts in a huge way too. So another thing that happens when you start to work with shadow in your own personal self. Yes, oh my gosh, real quick, Mira just mentioned it returns to the body as illness. Yes, I work with a lot of energy healers who work with illness in the body, and it is literally that stuck dark energy. So we do a lot of movement practices to integrate shadow in my program, but we're not going to do that today, but that is a huge part of it because you have to literally move it through your body. And that is such an important point. And it does, it makes you sick. It literally makes you sick. Oh my God. I was going to say something else and I got sidetracked. That's all right. It happens. Whatever. Anyway, my point was kind to yourself. And also, it takes time. So I literally started learning about this over a decade ago, but I wasn't catching on. I kept studying it. I kept feeling drawn to it. And I kept feeling attracted by it. And I kept reading these same authors who all kind of talked about the same kind of thing. It wasn't until I did the academy that it got really fucking clear. I opened up that channel to download all of this, basically, is what happened. But it took a long time after that before I started to really notice, like, especially over the last 6 months, how much has been brought to me. And it's been over the last year. I can look back and be like, oh my God, like that kind of feeling. It takes time. I know we're all high vibing 5D, manifesting machines around here, but we live in a 3-dimensional world and we have to contend with time. We have to take that space of time to get to that next manifested thing. You have to be on the bridge doing the work to get there. And so with that time, you have to be patient, which is Who likes that? Nobody likes that. But it can really feel heavy too. It can feel so like, so serious, so shadow, so dark and ugly. But that's not, that's not fun. Who wants to do that? Let's keep it fun. That's my family motto. # keep it fun. Whether it's something that feels hard or whether it's something that you don't want to do, there's always a way to make it fun. So it has to do with how you show up for this kind of work. And you can show up for this kind of work really rigid and scared and like, I don't want to see these parts of myself. Or you can show up to this work with curiosity, with self-compassion, with, you know what? I know I got some shit. That's all right. I'm ready to listen. I'm ready to open. I'm ready to learn. And let's see what comes up. It's that simple. Okay, so you get to that point where you celebrate, right? To uncover a new shadow. You're like, I just found a new shadow aspect. It happened to me a few weeks ago. And I'm like talking to my friends about it. And I'm like, I just realized that I have this issue. I'm like, yay? Okay. So yeah. Yes, time can go fast. Sometimes it can go fast. Sometimes it feels like forever. But then once you get there, you're like, oh, that was really not that bad. Okay. Another thing that's super, super, super important, if you're ever going to dive into shadow, you have to have a high vibe daily practice in place. Okay. Corinne teaches a lot of these, and she helps people kind of learn how to incorporate that. She's got a couple different 21-day programs. She has the Soul Cleanse, which I believe is several weeks long. And it's like that kind of stuff helps set you up to be available for the work that it takes to embrace your shadow. If you don't have that daily connection, that daily sadhana, that foundation of speaking to and listening to spirit every day, this is going to it's damn near impossible. You have to have that. I know my yoga mentor, Lisa Ware, if you're not familiar with her, she's a goddess yoga teacher. So when she teaches yoga classes, she incorporates goddess energy into it. It's super fun. Look her up on YouTube. She's super fun. And she always teaches her beginning students to begin their daily sadhana with a candle lighting. So you just get like a tea light candle, light it, take a moment, take a deep conscious breath, be with spirit, acknowledge it, and blow it out, and go back to your day. Try to do it around the same time every day. And that is enough to start that ball rolling into a deeper sadhana practice. I meditate for almost an hour every day, most days. I meditate daily, but it's not always an hour long. Some days I have something to do early in the morning, so I have to kind of cut my stuff short and stick to some certain very specific practices that I do every single day. But I didn't start like that, I started with gratitude. And I always everybody who works with me starts with gratitude. Pop in the comments right now, what are you grateful for right now, right in this moment? It can be anything. It can be, when I first started gratitude practice, I was grateful that the water came out when I turned the faucet on. You can be grateful for coffee. You can be grateful for Corinne's 7-day miracle challenge, Oh, hello, Anita. Yes, hydration is super important when you're working with energy. Oh my gosh, you have to move that through. So gratitude is such a simple practice to shift your vibration very quickly. And when you have it as a part of I got me coffee. I know it. Oh, I know it. I am so grateful for coffee. I don't put it on my list every day, but when I have my coffee, I have 1 cup a day, and it's fierce, y'all. It is fierce. And being alive, yes, Anita. Oh my gosh, and being here, grateful for friends. Yes, you guys get it. Y'all know what gratitude is. It is such an important part of having that sense of high vibrational compassion for yourself, being able to see the positive side of everything so that when you go into working with that shadow, you're really, really ready. So desires being met. Oh, Sarah. I love it. Okay, so let's do it. Let's do a little simple practice to just meet a shadow aspect. Now, again, I mentioned this earlier. I work with 2 types of shadow, and my house, my car, my job, the birds, the trees, yes, and coffee. I love it so much. So I may I may post a link to a book I wrote, an ebook. I have a free ebook I wrote about gratitude practice, and it's amazing. It's called The First Step to Clarity. It's not amazing. It's okay, but it's called The First Step to Clarity, and it's super fun. It's like 30 minutes of your life if you want to read it. I might put a link in the comments later because I don't want to go look it up right now. So we're going to do a simple practice. Like I said, there's two types of shadow that I work with, and we're only going to work with one type today because it's actually a little bit easier to find this type of shadow, and most people really know what that's about. So the wounded ego type shadow, that part of ourself that honestly, the only ones that will ever come up to be integrated are the ones that are ready to be integrated. So you don't have to be afraid. You don't have to worry that something's going to come up and you're not going to be able to handle it, because that's not how, that's not how your psyche works. Your psyche will not give you anything that you're not ready to handle. So just relax into it, be open and ready. You actually might want to write this down after, just so that you can have it if you want to continue to work with it. If not, that's okay. That's totally up to you. So just think about that. We're going to just do a simple practice. So find a comfortable seated position if you can. Sit up nice and straight. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, allow yourself to soften, starting with the shoulders, letting them relax down. Then as you exhale, allow your face to soften. Let your jaw soften. Let your throat soften. Allow yourself to feel into that connection to the chair or whatever you're sitting on. Feel your weight in your bottom. Place your hands in your lap. Connect your hands to your legs, into your lap, to each other, whatever. And just feel through your hands. Notice what it feels like to contact your own body in that way. And then bringing it all the way down into the feet. Maybe you're barefoot, you have your feet on the floor. Maybe your legs are crossed and your feet are tucked up under your knees or underneath you. Maybe you're wearing shoes. Whatever it is, feel what your feet are feeling right now. And allow that sense to really ground you into this moment and into your body. And now bring your awareness up into your breath. Don't take excessively deep breaths or anything like that. Just watch your breath move. Notice that your breath flows in and then out. Notice that the air feels cool coming in, warm going out. Notice how the chest and belly rise with the inhale and fall with the exhale. Feeling calm and relaxed and present and in the body. Now I'm going to ask you a question. When I ask this question, something will come to your mind immediately. And I want you to remember that thing. Don't dismiss it. And it's okay if more things come after that. You can have a list beyond just the first thing, but it's very easy to let that first thing slip away. But that is the thing. What do you do that you are embarrassed to tell other people about? Take a moment with it. Allow whatever's coming through to come through. It may take a second. That's okay too. Now bringing that word or that phrase into your awareness, pull it up like it's just below the surface of the water, and you're going to bring it up out of the water and let it sit with you. And take a nice deep inhale, cleansing, full breath, and exhale completely. Slowly open your eyes. Keep your awareness of that thing with you. Let's just sit with that for just a second. I'm going to share with you one of mine. Obviously, I'm not too embarrassed to tell people because I'm about to tell y'all, but it is something that I'm embarrassed about that I don't tell a lot of people. But I can be a pretty snarky bitch to my kids and to my mom sometimes. And I feel really bad about it. And it's something that I don't like to tell people, that I don't like to talk about. So when we begin to start our integration practice, the way we integrate shadow is by being aware of it, by becoming mindful of it in our lives. There's really nothing to do. You're not trying to change yourself. If you're trying to change yourself, then you don't get it. The whole point is to love every part of yourself. So becoming mindful of it is the process. Sometimes it will naturally shift and change. Sometimes it won't. But that's not the point. The point is to love it and honor it and embrace it. So, for example, with my example, one thing is when I do something and I say something that's really snarky, bitchy to my kids or to my mom with short-tempered and blah, I notice afterwards, sometimes in the moment even, there's that little voice in the back of my head like, damn girl, you being a bitch right now, what the hell, and I notice it afterwards and I don't push that thought away. Like I spent 40 freaking years of my life pushing those thoughts away whenever they would come through. Like, wow, did you really do that? Did you really want to do that? Is that how you want to be? Is that how you want to show up? I don't push it away. I go, God, no, I don't like that about myself. Ooh, that was ugly. And I don't want to be like that. I hope they don't feel bad. I don't want to make anybody feel sad. And then you just breathe, you relax and you soften and you just say, you know what? I was really bitchy for no good reason. And I'm going to send some love to that. I'm going to send some love to them because I was bitchy to them for no good reason. And then I'm just going to take a moment and send some love to myself. And I'm just going to say, I don't want to sound like that to my mother. I don't want to sound like that to my children. I want to sound peaceful and joyful 100% of the time. And yet I don't. Sometimes I have whatever. Shit's on my mind. I'm tired. I'm hungry. Whatever it is. I'm a human being. And sometimes my tone is nasty. And I love that about myself. I love that I get to be this human being. And I love myself in this moment anyway, not only in spite of, but because of these ugly parts. And then you just breathe. So often that attention to it is enough to, again, begin to shift it. And what can start to happen with certain aspects is when you bring the attention after the fact, there's like a little space of time. Like say you notice 5 minutes later, like, oh God, that was awful what I just did. And then you notice it 4 minutes later, then 3, then 2, then, so it gets a little bit easier. And then you start to have that voice in the back of your head right when you're doing it, yelling, don't do that, you're going to feel bad later, and you're still doing it. And then you might get to that point where you have that voice comes out before you do it, and you go, oh, I don't feel good about this later. I'm going to see if I can make another choice right now. Maybe I'm going to take that breath that I take after when I learn to embrace and accept myself first. So that's not the point. That is kind of incidental and can happen when doing this. And it can be the point. If you want to make it the point, I'm not going to tell you what to do. If you want that to be your point and why you're doing it, that's great. You can do it for that reason. There's nothing wrong with trying to grow and change yourself. There's nothing wrong with trying to be a better person. I'm not saying that. I just don't want to put that pressure on. It's not about that pressure. It's about embracing yourself the way you are now. So The issue happens, the shadow is created when we do that behavior that we know that makes us feel bad, and then we don't take that moment and we deny it and we repress it, we suppress it just to ourselves, we sweep it under the rug, like, whoop, that didn't happen, pretend like I didn't do that, whatever it is. And then that becomes this feeling of self-violence, really. You start to beat yourself up and berate yourself over doing that thing that makes you feel bad, and you're not even conscious of it. Those thoughts are happening when I talk about meditation, and when I talk about your mind as a bookshelf, and the top shelf is the stuff that you're aware of. Those self-violent thoughts are often 3 or 4 shelves down. You're not even super aware of them, but they're affecting your behaviors in your everyday life. So learning to slow down, learning to accept those things. This is why it's so super important to have a daily practice in place when you're really ready to jump into looking at shadow aspects. Okay, so love trumps self-violence every single time. Yeah? Does that make sense? So now let's do another fun practice as a little guided meditation to integrate this aspect. Now, again, integration happens in the moment. It happens as you're doing it, but this is just kind of a fun way to give it a personification and to really kind of embrace this about yourself. Okay, so find your seated position again. I'm gonna take a drink. Allow yourself to relax, close your eyes, and settle back into your body. Same thing. Let's take a couple breaths here to find that softness. So on each exhale, bringing that sense of deepening into your body with your shoulders and in your jaw and your throat. Sinking in deeper, relaxing, softening through the chest, through the belly. Sinking down deeper into your pelvis, feeling your weight on your chair. Noticing your hands. Noticing your feet. Fully present, fully in your body in the moment. And now I want you to take that word or phrase or aspect of yourself and bring it out in front of you and put it into a figure. You can make it like a smoky silhouette of a human that looks just like you. You can imagine taking your shadow off the wall and peeling it off like Peter Pan and putting it right in front of you and giving it this aspect. You can imagine like a solid darkness, whatever comes through for you. Make it something that feels resonant and have it sit down right in front of you. Call it by its name. And now smile at it. Now take a deep, full, conscious breath. Inhale fully. As you do, I want you to imagine within your chest cavity a bright white or sparkly light or golden, pink, whatever works for you, light, filling up that air, and then blow all the way out. Now on your next breath, as you inhale, I want you to imagine that you're inhaling that darkness from that aspect, that personified aspect in front of you. Bring it into your lungs, transmute it with that light, whatever that looked like for you, whether it was golden or pink. And then exhale, you blow it out. You're going to send it into that figure, replacing that space of darkness. Do it again. Inhale in. So maybe you can see some of the darkness coming into you, and then you take your light and your sparkly light within, transmute it, and then blow it back out. And it enters into that figure. Keep repeating this action. Inhaling in just a little bit more. Watching it transmute, become light within you, and exhale. Doing this until you have completely filled up that figure with the light energy from within you, completely transmuted all of the darkness. Take a moment afterwards and really feel into your body. Notice how that feels. Notice how the shadow from that aspect has really become part of who you are. And for fun, if you want to, and if this resonates, you can even imagine that figure that is now all of light sitting down with you, as you, in your exact same position and kind of melding right into you. I embrace this about myself. I honor this about myself. I accept this about myself. And I am ready to learn to love this about myself. Take a few more breaths here. Just allow this to play out for you. And then we'll take a deep cleansing breath. Inhale, completely, fully open, expand the chest, expand the belly, go as high as you can with that breath. Pause at the top. And exhale, blow through the mouth. Really, really let all of the air press your belly down, press all of the air out. Pause at the bottom of the breath. Inhale again. Expand, go as big as you can, pause. And exhale. Allow your breath to return to normal. Slowly bring your eyes open. Maybe you want to do a little stretch. Arms up overhead. Ooh, yeah. Let me know how that felt for you. I love this practice. It's a little spin on kind of a tongue-ling kind of thing. We have this magic within us always. You can transmute dark energy for anybody, for yourself, for anybody else at any time. It's a beautiful thing to do with your shadow aspects. So thank you for letting me be here today, for joining me. I did want to let you guys know I am teaching a masterclass, a 3-part masterclass on shadow called Meet Your Shadow. It starts next Friday. There will be 3 live sessions, all within about the course of a week. So it's kind of a boom, boom, boom. It's a little deeper than what we're doing here today. We'll talk about, first we'll lay a really solid foundation of some daily practices that you can do right now that can help you set, oh yay, thank you, Joanna. Really help you set the stage and the foundation for that deep work. And then we're going to meet those 2 types of shadows and not really get so much into the integration practices like we did there today, although I have a bunch of them. Thank you also. Thank you, Mira, for being here. So if you're interested in that, you can just send me a message or whatever. You can email me too at clarityleah@gmail.com. I'll put it in the comments. At gmail.com, or just send me a Facebook message, or please join my group also. Oh, thank you, Cassandra. Thank you. I posted a link to my group in the comments where I do 2 lives at least a week, and we talk a lot about this kind of stuff. So if you're curious and you want to learn more, please join me over there. It's called Finding Clarity 999, I think is the link. Anyway, just Finding Clarity. I just want to close by saying one more thing. I cannot recommend Corinne and her transformational program enough. If this is something that you feel at all called to, if you feel at all that little pull within you, is a part of yourself that is saying, this is what I need right now. And if I hadn't listened to that, I would not be where I am today. I would not know, I'm about to cry. Like, I would not know the amazing people that I know. I would not have been able to open up and download this information that I have honestly been studying for over a decade and couldn't get it. Middle name is Leah. Oh, do you spell it like that? I always tell people my mom spelled my name wrong because there's no H on the end. Like, seriously, I remember telling my father, who's like my guru, I remember telling him, like, I get it. Like, I logically get it, but I can't get down there. I'm missing something. I can't get below the surface. I can't tap in. Yoga didn't do it. Meditation didn't do it. It took this, academy to really launch me. And I graduated over a year ago. And it still continues to improve my life every single day. So that was all I wanted to say about that. I am steeped in gratitude to have been a part of your day. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here. I look forward to seeing you and serving you again. Satnam.